Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to Sid Meier's Civilization 6. I'm very excited to say that I've managed to get my hands on a preview copy of this game from 2K. I'm a big fan of the Civilization series. I've played a lot of Civilization 5, especially on the channel, been able to beat that game on Deity for a little while now, and I've been looking forward to Civilization 6 for quite some time, so quite happy to actually get my hands on this and be able to bring you some Civilization 6 footage about a month before the game actually releases. Now, before I get started with this video, there are a few ground rules that I want to lay down. I wish I didn't have to, but these are some things that need to be done. So first of all, while a lot of YouTubers and streamers have had access to this build for about a week or so, I haven't. In fact, some YouTubers and streamers even got invited to a press event several months ago and got to play the game well in advance. I've only had my copy for a couple of hours, and I've used that couple of hours to play through some of the game and, you know, get familiar with some of the things. But if I wanted to actually start recording so I could get videos out in time for the embargo, then I'd really have to start recording now. So I'm going into this with only a couple of hours practice. Now this means I'm bound to miss things, I'm bound to make mistakes and not always know what I am doing. I might even say things that are incorrect and contradict myself and stuff like that. But just bear in mind 3 points before commenting and pointing those things out. The first point to remember is that I record these videos in bulk and in batches, so the chances are by the time you guys get to see a video of me missing something or messing something up, it'll be too late to do anything about it anyway, because I'll probably be 10, 15, 20 videos ahead. Secondly, as I said, I've only put 2 hours practice into this game, and thirdly, that's probably 2 hours practice more than you've put into it. The second thing to remember with this is that it's not just going to be a fast playthrough where I just basically try and play a game and just zip through everything as quickly as possible. This is going to be an analytical playthrough where I look at the differences between Civilization 5 and Civilization 6. So if you're coming into this game from Civilization 5 and you want to know what some of the differences and changes are and the way that the mechanics have been altered, those are things that we are going to sort of look at and talk about as we go through, as well as other things like the graphical style and bits and pieces that people have made comments on. And thirdly, and most importantly, this is a press build. It is not complete. Values and things within the game are subject to change. I haven't noticed any bugs myself, but if you do notice any bugs or anything like typos, spelling errors, things like that, again, this build is about a month old, I think. There are also a few things that are unavailable. So, for example, in this build, I can only play as one of 10 civilizations. There'll be 20 in the full game when it's released, but we are limited to choosing from 10, and the AI can only pick from those 10 as well. We can only play the game on Prince difficulty in this build. We can only choose from quick and standard game speeds. Of course, in the full game, you will also have epic and marathon, the same as you do in Civilization 5. You'll also have online, which will be an even faster game designed for online games. Map type I can choose from continents, isolated plates, and Pangaea. Of course, you'll have things like fractal and can't even remember what, shuffle, and a few others in the full game. And the map size we can choose from tiny, standard, and large. Of course, in the full game, you'll also have small and huge and massive and all the other ones. So we're going to play on a standard map size, which is designed for 8 civilizations. Going to play on continents, and for my leader, I'll show you the leaders that are available to the press build. So we've got Frederick Barbarossa of Germany. We've got Harald Harada of Norway. We've got Hojo Tokumini of Japan. We've got Mvemba and Zinga of the Congolese. We've got Pericles of the Greek. We've got Philip II of Spain. Teddy Roosevelt of the USA. We've got Tomiris of Scythia. And we've got Caesar Trajan of Rome. And Queen Victoria of England. Now, I happen to know that a few of the other YouTubers that I am friendly with are going to be playing a few of the characters down here on this end. I mean, I'm sure they'll put their videos live at the same time I do. So if you want to see a playthrough as Rome, go and check out Quill 18. If you want to see a playthrough as Greek, go and check out Marbazir. But I am going to be playing as Germany. I know I've played Germany before as Civilization 5. We can actually see what all of the different leaders' abilities and things are. I'm not going to go through them all. But if we look at Frederick Barbarossa here, so we've got 3 imperial cities. Each city can build 1 more district than usual, exceeding the normal limit based on population. So if you don't know what the districts are, I will explain that as we get to build them. But basically it is like an extra tile that you can add onto a city that allows you to build more buildings within it. If you've played anything like Endless Legend, it's very similar to the way cities expand in that. So in Civilization 6, cities actually span multiple tiles as opposed to just a single tile. Then we've got the Holy Roman Emperor. We get an additional military policy slot, and we get 7 combat strength when attacking city-states. And again, policy slots are something I will explain when we get in there. We have a unique unit, which is the U-boat. And we also have the Hansa, which is a unique district that replaces the industrial zone district. If you want to know what all of the other ones do, I'll just mouse over them all for a few seconds. You can pause the video and read these if you want to, or of course you can always go and look at the wiki page, because I believe so far most of this information is on the wiki page and it is correct. Also, if you want to have an in-depth look at the technology tree and also the civics tree, which is like an expanded social policy tree that runs in parallel with the civics tree. You can go and check out some videos that Marbazir will be producing that will give you a full in-depth rundown on some of the things that you can expect to see within those trees. So I've gone and highlighted over all of these leaders now, so you can read the unique abilities, unique units and things that they have. But let's go in as Frederick Barbarossa. We are going to start the game.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Heroic Frederick, King of the Germans, your task is to forge the independent states that surround you into an empire. You are blessed to be a great military leader. Use those skills to bring these cities under your sway, so that they may develop into commercial and industrial powerhouses. Surely then the bards will sing of mighty Frederick with the red beard, the great Holy Roman Emperor.
Okay, thank you very much, Sean. Let's get into the game. So, here we are, Civilization 6. Now, one of the first things is I've not got edge scrolling turned on, so I have to left click to drag the map around, which is fine. I did turn the edge scrolling on briefly, but for some reason, if you actually move the mouse to the very top edge of the screen, it doesn't scroll. You have to go below the information bar, which I found a little bit annoying, so I've just turned it off so I can use the mouse for scrolling. Now, one thing that I will address early on, the elephant in the room, and this is one of the pretty major concerns that a lot of people had when Civilization 6 was first announced and the early screenshots were shown, is that the game has this much more cartoony, stylized look than Civilization 5 did. Now, bear in mind, the early Civilizations, Civilizations 4 and before, they all had that sort of cartoony look, and Civilization 5 was the first one that actually had a splash more realism in its graphical finesse. I too was concerned, not that I thought the graphics were bad. I actually do quite like these cartoony graphics, but I did prefer the more realistic graphics that Civilization 5 had. But the more I see of the graphics in Civilization 6, the more it grows on me. I do like the stylization of some of the units. So what do we start with? We start here with a warrior and we start with a settler. We've got a few resources around. We've got Mercury here, which is a luxury resource. We've also got some stone, which is a bonus resource. Now you will find that a lot of the resources now are bonus resources instead of luxury resources. So if you think back to Civilization 5, you had things like sheep and cattle and deer and bison, things that weren't a luxury, they weren't strategic, but they would give you some sort of bonus for improving the tile. A lot of the resources in Civilization 6 are now those bonus resources. So with our settlers selected here, we can see that water availability is actually quite important to us. We do have these colour guides to show us where we can build. So dark green would indicate fresh water, which is what we currently have, and you can see that little icon at the bottom with a picture of a house +3. So having access to fresh water gives us more housing. So unlike Civilization 5, where you can basically get as many civilians, as many citizens to make up a city's population as you want, obviously providing you've got the food to feed them, you actually require housing in Civilization 6. And housing is provided by a number of tile upgrades, such as farms, camps, even fishing boats. But it's also, you get extra housing from fresh water. So the lighter green one is coastal water, grey is no water, and if it's red, you're too close to another city you can't put down. I'm not necessarily sure there's going to be a better spot anywhere around that we could settle. We are on a river, we are next to a mountain, so that is quite nice. We will move up onto the hill with this warrior, just so we can uncover a little bit more of the map. And we've actually got some tea over here as well. So let's go ahead and settle our first city. And we have Ashen, there we are. And we have our warriors. You can delete the unit. All of the icons have changed slightly. It's not down in the bottom left anymore. The mini-map's moved. So the user interface has changed around quite a bit. So with our city selected, we can bring up the city details here on the left-hand side. So as you can see, there are two things here that are very important to us. First of all, amenities. And it says status happy. So happiness in Civilization 5 was a sort of a global happiness. You did have individual happiness in individual cities, which was limited to the number of population. So, for example, if a city only had 5 population, that city couldn't produce more than 5 happiness. Even if you had 10 different buildings that all gave you +2 happiness, it was capped at the max number of population. But now it's done on a per city basis. So you can have one city that's perfectly happy and it won't get any penalties. You can have another city that is unhappy and you will get penalties to your growth and your yields. Now, to keep your citizens happy, you need amenities, and amenities are gained from a varying number of things. As you can see, you get amenities from luxury resources, from civics, from entertainment, great people, religion, national parks, and warrioriness and bankruptcy. I think that actually loses amenities. But as you can see, the advisor down here is saying that we need to improve luxury resources to gain amenities. Also, we have housing. We start with 6 housing and we have 1 citizen. So our population will grow until we run out of housing. We get 5 housing from water because we are on a river. We get 1 housing from buildings, which is the standard that you would start with on the city itself. And as it says, place improvements, farms, fishing boats, pastures, plantations and camps will improve our housing. And we'll also get some from districts and civics and things like that. So that's our city list. You can also click on this thing here. You can see if we've got any districts or if we've got any wonders or trading posts. And if we have a pantheon. But at the moment we don't have any of that. We can purchase tiles, manage our citizens, purchase items with gold, which includes buildings and units, purchase items with faith, and we can change the city's production. At the moment, we want to manage the citizens. We are currently working 1 food, 1 production, 1 science. We might be better off working the 2 food until we grow. We're 14 turns until growth, or we can have 7 turns until growth. I think it makes the most sense to lock in the food tile and then go for that tile there. We're going to choose our production. Now, as you can see, pretty similar to what you'd see in Civilization 5. We can start off with a monument, we can start off with a scout, we can build builders, warriors, and slingers. So slinger is a very early unit, a very early ranged unit that you can build. And builders replace workers. We'll explain a little bit more about them as we go. We'll start off by building a scout, fairly standard. So now we're going to go and have a look at the technology tree. Got a nice little key now on the left-hand side that explains a lot of things to us and highlights instantly whether something is a unit, a building, a wonder, an agreement, an improvement, a resource, or a district. I'll just sort of slowly slide this along to the right just so you can sort of see how large the tech tree is. I'm not going to go through every individual thing on there right now. We will go through it sort of bit by bit as we come to it. But like I said, if you want to go and have an in-depth look at the tech tree, and some of the stuff that is on here, go out and go and check Marbazir's videos when he puts them up, because he will be doing some videos that fully encompass the tech tree and the civics tree. A lot of them you will actually recognise, very familiar if you've played Civilization 5. A lot of the same headings, a lot of the same sort of units and buildings, although some of the way they work will be slightly different. But back to the beginning. So we have the choice of pottery, animal husbandry and mining. So let's have a just quick look and see what we've got around us. So we've got mercury, a luxury resource which requires mining. So we probably want to try and get mining first. So we'll go ahead and queue up mining. And we also want to try and get a granary quite quickly. So we'll probably go for the... in fact, no, we'll go for pottery first, and then we'll queue up mining. The reason I say pottery first is because there's no point getting mining until we can get a builder, and that's going to take us a little while as well. Now, apart from these first three techs, you'll see that most of the other techs below them have a to boost thing. So sailing, for example, says to boost, found a city on the coast. Astrology says to boost, find a natural wonder. Irrigation says to boost, farm a resource. And basically what happens is when you complete one of these objectives, you get what is called a Eureka bonus that knocks half of the time off the research time. So if I was to found a coastal city, the 18 turns to research sailing would instantly drop down to 9 turns. And pretty much all of the higher level techs do have some way of reducing the length of time it takes to research them. There's also a thing called the Civics Tree as well. We're currently working on Codes of Law, which is the first one that you start off working on by default. The Civics Tree kind of replaces social policies and runs in parallel to the Science Tree. Again, I'll just sort of scroll this over slowly to the right. There's quite a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot to take in. Once more, if you want sort of detailed information on what is included within the Civics Tree and the individual policies within, go and check out Marbazir's video when he puts it live, because he will be covering quite a lot of stuff. If we go back to the beginning, there's not really an awful lot we can do here anyway, because until we get the Codes of Law, we can't pick from either of these, so we'll just ignore that for now. So let's go on to the next turn, because I realise that we're 17 minutes in and we haven't even pressed the next turn button yet. One thing you are going to notice is that the time of day is going to change because that's animated. It is something that you can turn off. You don't need to have that on, but you will actually see that it sort of currently looks like it's getting dusk, and that time of day will change. Now, there's been a couple of changes made to the way that units move. It used to be that certain terrain required double movement. So, for example, in Civilization 5, moving onto a hill required 2 movement. But even if you only had 1 movement, you could still move onto the hill. You can no longer do that in Civilization 6. You actually have to have enough movement to move into the tile. So, if a hill tile takes 2 movement, you have to have 2 movement to move into it. We're going to use our warrior to do a little bit of scouting. If we're lucky, we might find a goody hut or 2, which are called tribal villages in Civilization 6. So we'll keep having a look around with this guy up here. We've found some deer, which is another bonus resource. We've got some sheep, which is another bonus resource. Obviously, there's going to be a few turns of just hitting next turn because we can't really do anything.
We have discovered a city-state. Establishing diplomatic relations with them will surely be beneficial for our empire. Perhaps we should send them an envoy.
So we have found...
several different types of city-states.
Let's just ignore that for now. So we have found our first city-state. And city-states work a little bit differently in Civilization 6 to the way they work in Civilization 5. Obviously, you can still declare war on them. Now, the first city-state that we find, we automatically send 1 envoy to them. Now, you'll see this thing up here on the top left-hand corner. Basically, we gain 1 influence point per turn, and we currently have 3 influence points. And every time we get 100 influence points, we will get a new envoy. When you get an envoy, you can send that to a city-state, and you get bonuses from the city-states based on the number of envoys you send them. So, Lisbon, for example, we've got 1 envoy in Lisbon. They are a trade city-state. So if we send them 1 envoy, which we have, we'll get an extra 4 gold in the capital. So we're already getting an extra 4 gold per turn from Lisbon. 3 envoys. If we send 3 envoys, we will get 4 gold in every commercial hub district. And if we send them 6 envoys, we will get 4 gold in every 4 additional gold in every commercial hub district. Now there's also a unique bonus, and each individual city-state will have something completely different here, and it requires you to send at least 3 envoys, and you have to have more envoys than other civilizations. So providing you have more envoys sent to one city-state than another civ does, and providing it's more than 3, you will become what is called the Suzerain. Suzerain? Something like that. I'll look that up because I can never remember how to pronounce it properly. But basically you will get some interesting things. So basically, if we become Lisbon's Suzerain, then our trader units, so it's basically our caravans and our cargo ships, become immune to being plundered. Well, it's water tiles for this one, it's not the caravans, but our trader units become immune to being plundered on water tiles. So it actually gives us a little bit of protection, quite similar to how that worked in Civilization Beyond Earth. Now you also get some extra bonuses once you become their Suzerain, which is also like in Civilization 5 when you become their sort of ally. So the city-state follows you into war and peace with other players. Your units may enter city-state lands. Your builder units may improve city-state tiles. You can see 3 tiles around the city-state. You can pay gold to temporarily take control of the city-state's military, which is what this levy military button is up here below the declare war button. So the Suzerain of this state can pay 80 gold to take temporary control of all its current military units, and they will return to the city-state after 30 turns, or if the Suzerain changes. And then finally you gain ownership of all the city-state's resources. So these bonuses, the Suzerain diplomacy bonuses, will be the same for every city-state, but the bonus that you get up here, this will be different for every city-state. We're also given a quest here, which is to construct a holy site district. We may or may not be able to manage that, and you'll be able to see a list here of all of the different city-states you've met and how many envoys you've got sent to each one. So we've met our first city-state. They have a quest for us. So we are aware of that. We still would like to move you around a little bit, do some more exploration. I do like the way the map uncovers. I think that's actually really neat. And then it sort of goes into this washed out sepia colour when you meet the fog of war. So we'll just keep looking around. Now we will want to bring... Now as you can see, I actually had 2 movement. I've still got 1 movement remaining, but I can't move onto this hill, because hills require 2 movement. So I can only move back to the tile that I've been on. I'll spend 1 more turn just moving up onto this hill to see if I can see something. And we've actually found the coast. Now that's a barbarian scout. Barbarians actually have scouts now, so there will be a camp nearby. Now we will have to bring this guy, this warrior, back to our city very soon, because the barbarians in Civilization 6 tend to be a lot more hostile.
It would seem we have finally tracked the barbarian raiders plaguing these lands to their source. We must destroy the stronghold or risk future attacks.
So the barbarians will sort of come forward and start to try and attack us. And the thing that's different in Civilization 6 is that your cities can't actually attack. Not at the beginning of the game anyway. You need to actually have city walls before the city has any way to fight back. Now it's a lot harder to take a city in Civilization 6 than it is in Civilization 5, because they have a garrison mechanic now. But it still means that you really need to rely on units to kill anything that's attempting to attack your city. Not sure if that spearman will come out. Okay, so our city has now grown in population, and we are working that tile there. So we'll get a little bit of extra science and a bit of extra production. Can we not... can we get out of here? Oh, got to untick that button. There we go. So, can we get out of here yet, or was that on the same turn? Yeah, we want to back up from this a little bit. We really don't want to be fighting those barbarians at the moment. I've never seen barbarians start with a warrior. They always seem to start with a spearman. They will get slingers, so you do have to be very careful of them. I'm surprised I haven't found a goody hut yet, but we're only 1 turn away from getting the scout, so hopefully he will be able to find them. This first video is just going to be a little bit of a longer one.
Units like scouts are unique in that they can gain experience by exploring and discovering parts of the world.
No man ever wetted clay and then left it, as if there would be bricks by chance and fortune.
So there we go, we have completed pottery. So as I was saying, this first video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, just because obviously there was a bit of waffle at the start, so it'll probably be about half an hour. So let's continue to move around with this warrior. We've got our scout now. So slight change to the way that scouts work compared to how they were in Civilization 5. Civilization 5 scouts had 2 movement, but they ignored terrain penalty costs. In Civilization 6, scouts don't have the ignore terrain cost, but they have 3 movement. But they also gain experience from exploration. So we're going to go and have a look down here. We've got enough movement to get up onto the hill. We've got another T-tile down here. Quite a lot of tundra close by. Now we need to choose production. Let's go ahead and get our monument, because that will give us some early culture. We will want to get a settler nice and early. We'll also probably want to get a slinger. But we could also always go and buy these. Let's start working on the monument right away. And we will go on to the next turn. Now we might want to go and settle a city up here on the coast. We would have access to a fair bit of crab and some more mercury. We will have a look over here with our scout though. There might be a better location over here. Even more tea. Now we're moving through forest, so of course we're taking the movement penalty for moving through there. Let's just have a little look down in this direction. We found some cotton. So there's another luxury resource. So yeah, I'm thinking building a city over here might not be a terrible idea. Unless we find a better spot to build before then. So let's sort of skirt around them if we can. We found some horses. Still haven't found a tribal camp yet, which I'm very surprised about. Let's move down this way with you.
Our explorers have spotted another friendly tribal village.
There we go.
I suggest we send a scout to investigate.
Now, when it says send a scout, you don't actually have to send a scout. You can do it with any unit. I have tried it. It does work. So we'll want to go over here and try and grab that. So let's go and get it. Just gave us 40 gold and some XP. That was unfortunate. I was hoping we'd get a little bit more from that. Sometimes you do get better stuff. Can we afford to buy anything? We could buy ourselves a slinger. Might not be a bad idea. If we get a slinger nice and early on, we can go and clear out that barbarian camp. We'll help the warrior to do that. You need orders. We'll just have a look around here and just see if we can't find another quick and easy camp to grab. But we probably won't be able to. You can hear units moving around. It is a barbarian scout. We found another barbarian scout. So as you can see, these scouts are absolutely everywhere. There's an awful lot of them. We've got our slinger. Let's go and start moving the slinger forward. So it's a nice and simple ranged unit. Only has an attack range of 1. So it's not as good as an archer, but it will do. Let's go on to the next turn. 1 turn away from completing mining.
Enacting new policies in our government can be of great benefit. Our people await your decree.
So we've finished our
More
civic.
credit than the wife of a coal miner.
We've also finished mining.
At his best, man is the noblest of all animals.
So
Separated from law and justice, he is the worst.
sorry, Sean. So when you complete a civic, you get the option to change your policies. Now, you can change your policies for free on the turn where you complete a new civic. You can also change your policies at a later time, but it will actually cost you gold to do it. So at the moment, our government type allows us to have 1 military policy and 1 economic policy. We do have a civilization unique bonus that allows us to have a 2nd military policy. So we've only got 2 military policies to choose from. We might as well have both of them then. So double experience for recon units, so our scout will level up faster. And an extra 5 combat strength when fighting barbarians, and that'll be for all of our soldiers. And then we can pick 1 economic policy, so we can either have 1 production in all cities, or 1 faith and 1 gold in the capital. I think we're going to go for the 1 faith and 1 gold. It'd be nice if we can get a pantheon early on. So we'll go and set that. So if we wanted to now, we could go into our government, and we could go to view policies, and probably can't do it on this turn, but on the next turn we could change it, but it would cost us money to do so. We need to choose a new research. So let's just go back to the beginning here. So it's between animal husbandry. Have we reduced anything at the moment? No, we haven't. We haven't even met another civilization yet, so that's going to slow writing down. What do we need to grab the tea? Irrigation. So we might want to try and get that one quite quickly as well. Now, we don't have a bonus for irrigation, unfortunately, because we haven't built a... we haven't farmed a resource. But we will be building on plains. So we should be able to do that one. So if we leave that one for now and actually work on animal husbandry, let's just get that done. So as soon as possible, we want to try and get a builder out. We'll probably do that before we get ourselves another settler. So we can open the Civics Tree now. We've got 2 to choose from. We've got Craftsman. We could boost that by improving 3 tiles. And we've got Foreign Trade, which we could improve by discovering a second continent. We can't really wait on either of them, so we've got to start working on one right away. This one would give us more production towards builders, which would be very useful. And this one would give us production towards ancient and classical era melee and ranged units. The foreign trade one gives us a trade route, caravanseries, maritime industries, and also allows us to establish joint wars against target civilizations. So that's a diplomacy action. We're going to go for craftsman. You can still get boosts for things while you're working on them, and it will sort of half the remaining time. Let us think about... Well, we could actually attack this scout with our warrior.
It is best to use caution when moving close to enemy units,
because they're quite weak. Though apparently we don't have enough movement to do it. There is a goody hut there that we would like to try and take. Don't know why I've decided to sort of move up there with the scout, but apparently we have. But so we've discovered a tribal village. So we'll go on to the next turn. We'll see if we can grab that village, and then we'll stop pulling these units back.
just as our citizens have faith in your leadership, so they are beginning to have faith in a higher power. I think it is wise to cultivate this new way of thinking. Perhaps there is some benefit to be gained.
So we're basically just gaining faith, which is what it's telling us there.
Several closely situated granite peaks resembling tiger's teeth dramatically soar about 1 kilometre into the sky.
Well, that's the first natural wonder I have discovered in this game. Even when I played in the 2 hours before, I didn't actually discover one. So we have discovered Torres del Paine. 2-tile impassable natural wonder doubles the terrain yields of all adjacent tiles. Very good.
Through exploration, we have discovered a natural wonder of the world. There is no doubt that it could provide a great benefit to the one who settles the land surrounding it.
So obviously, I didn't realise my warrior was moving through this marsh tile, so that's why we actually lost out on the movement. We've got a Eureka boost, so that has now boosted our knowledge of astrology, so now that will only take half the amount of time to research. I'm actually going to move my scout down here to pick up that goody hut, and we'll, because it's on a hill, we'll start moving the warrior back so we can deal with this camp, because we are moving towards it with our slinger. But I'm going to end the video here because we've been going for over 30 minutes. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are enjoying Civilization 6. I'll be putting the first few videos out at least quite regularly. There'll be multiple videos a day because obviously I'm sure you guys will want to see as much Civilization 6 content as possible in the early days. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you next time, and until then, goodbye for now.